Greetings, I'm Rob Chapman. I want to talk about 5 lessons, maybe more than 5 actually, that I learned from the incredible Paul Gilbert. Imagine this scenario. I've flown to the Larvik Guitar Festival in Norway, where a lot of these stories take place, and I know I'm going to be jamming with Paul. I'm very nervous. Guthrie's there too. I've known Guthrie for many years. I've met Paul before, but I'm thinking, I can't do the shred thing, I can't do the speed thing, I can't do legato. What am I going to play on stage with Paul Gilbert, Guthrie Govan? Anyway, sat down in the breakfast hall. It's a beautiful smorgasbord of, Norwegian smoked salmon, lox, cereals and eggs and toast, and I'm just mountaining up this platter of nourishment to fuel myself for the rest of the day and, worry about getting nervous later on. On my second coffee, I've been sat at this breakfast table with a bunch of guys that I know from Larvik, and I suddenly realised that the entire time I've been sat there eating, Paul has been sat in front and to the side, Paul, just sat there, so at ease with himself, so relaxed, that he kind of blended into his chair. And every so often, in a room full of, rock and metal guys, a person would go, "Oh my God, it's Paul Gilbert." He's so unassuming. It's like a suit of armour. He's such a lovely guy, so nice, that I feel like he's almost got this kind of aura of creative, positive energy around him that means that when he gets on that stage, you are so with him. I would defy you to find a person that doesn't like Paul Gilbert. And a lot of that is in just his nature. He's a relaxed, peaceful, at ease kind of guy. And I really feel like your vibe attracts your tribe. At the venue, there were green rooms and there were dressing rooms. Everyone gets a dressing room, and obviously there's a big kind of very informal green room with coffee and food, snacks, TV, guitars. You can sit down and hang out. And Paul, rather than hiding in his dressing room, was just in the green room. I can't even believe I'm going to say this, but he was just sat there having a banana, I think it was, and a coffee. And then there were like 4 or 5 of us sat in this green room chatting with him. And he just got his guitar out and went, "Oh, I want to show you something." And he started teaching. Just out of the blue, without any prompt, he went, look at this. And he started teaching licks, and then chord progressions, and then rhythmical ideas. And then he said to me, "Rob, I challenge you to play this." And it was a piece from one of Kiss's songs. It was a rhythmical bit that was like counter with the vocal rhythm, and he was singing it and playing it. And he spoke a lot about wanting the attack of a soft pick over the string, to feel that tactile sense of a pick on a string. And something I realized through watching him teach and watching him play is that although Paul has some hearing loss, he's almost lent into that disability and focused on the tactile senses of rhythmical playing and the feeling of the pick, and made that his kind of superpower. Because that guy can find a laser cut, precision engineered place for every single lick he plays. Everything is very considered, but delivered at ease. His rhythm, his sense of rhythm is like second to none. His placement is unbelievable. And I feel like he's accepted that he has this hearing loss issue and then gone, well, I've got a sense of rhythm and I can feel the rhythm more. And he's incorporated that not only into just his general sense of musicianship, but in his lead playing. So for example, getting up on stage and playing with Paul and Guthrie, I was thinking, man, I'm gonna be destroyed here, And they're very humble, caring, loving musicians that didn't do anything like that. But I was very much at the back of the stage, spectator, until Paul called me up and, got me to play some lead. I did my thing, and I held my own, and I felt like, you know, I tried, and then I was just waiting for Paul to absolutely destroy me, and he didn't. He wanted a musical conversation. He wanted that discussion on stage of music. And I just really enjoyed watching Paul put rhythm chops in his lead, like it was a normal part of the lead. It's something that's kind of quite unique to Paul. It was an interesting experience because I felt like he was giving way more than he was taking. He wasn't stood at the front, hair blowing back and just shredding, you know, and relying on what he's probably more famous for than anything else, which is unbelievable speed, precision, picking runs. He did some of that, but that wasn't what he relied on at all. He was a musician, and that really came across in Paul's performance. And what he wanted on stage with us was music. I feel like there's a lesson inherent there in the general aura, the vibe, the message of Paul Gilbert was it's all about the music and sharing that journey and encouraging others to experience and experiment with rhythm and music. So the last thing, and this is kind of a weird one, is that I noticed that Paul seems to have learned like hundreds of covers. Notably Johnny Cash. And I think he has developed an unnerving library of chord progressions and concepts from studying lots of the Beatles and Johnny Cash and all these different bands over the years. I heard a story from my friend Lexi that at the DiMarzio hotel room at the NAMM show once, he was just sat on the couch playing Johnny Cash tracks for about 2 hours. So he really has a giant vocabulary of covers, and that must have helped him in some way. And something that I've never done really is focus on learning covers. I learned a few Jimi Hendrix tracks, a lot of Metallica, a bit of Joe Satch, some Vi. I tried to learn Norwegian Cowbell from Paul Gilbert, but I totally failed. Learned a lot of Dweezil Zappa. But then I sort of stopped, and I feel like I should have kept going. I should learn the lessons from other musicians, and Paul definitely did that. Here's a really weird one for you, and this is going to sound slightly left of field, a bit odd, but please bear with me. I don't feel like Paul has a signature sound, and I think that might be his sound. So, I mean, Paul always plugs into a Marshall stack, although it's been various Marshalls that I've seen him playing at Music Messe, NAMM Show, Larvik Festival. He's always got a different arrangement of pedals, and there's always something on that board that he's using in a completely, and I mean completely, unorthodox way. If you're a Gilbert fan, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's like he is so much of a musician, a compositional lead player, that he's on side quests now. He no longer needs the weirding module. He doesn't need a Paul Gilbert sound. The way he's playing and the kind of music he's putting through his hands is the sound. So when you hear him playing, you get that's Paul Gilbert, but it's not the sound. So he's kind of free to have any kind of sound, and you accept it as being Paul Gilbert. Maybe that's the next level. I don't know. Anyway, have an amazing day. I want to say a giant thank you to Paul, Guthrie, Larvik for allowing this incredible dream to come true. Thank you for watching. Take it easy. Hope you've enjoyed these lessons from Paul Gilbert. Chappers out.